Amazing wisdom.
Entrepreneurs.
Business leaders.
Success.
CEOs.
Amazing success.
Around the world.
This is the Success Nuggets Podcast. Have you ever wondered what you could learn and how inspired you'd be if you asked incredible people from around the world about the patterns that drive progress? Get ready to dive into a world of insights and inspiration. This is the Success Nuggets Podcast with the founder of the Digital Light Bulb and your host, David Abel.
Yes, okay, listeners. Chris Browne is back. Chris Browne is the number one voted podcast of the Success Nuggets series to date. Chris also recorded a pilot with me that was 2 minutes long where I think I said, welcome to, and so I'm going to say again, welcome to
Chris Browne.
Chris Browne. Yeah.
I must have voted for myself many times to make myself number one, David. But thank you for that. That's nice to know.
Yeah, Choose Happy was the one that everyone said they absolutely loved. Now, there was a time in your life where you left Ted Baker after many years.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like the. I'll call it a euphemism. When I left, I was sacked. I was unceremoniously dumped after 30 years. But the reaction, and I still puzzle this myself in a kind of amused way. I spent 30 minutes or so walking away from the office, going up to King's Cross and going for a bite to eat, or maybe an hour, in hysterics. I was laughing so deeply, and I kept on thinking, "Oh dear!" And I was having this self-conversation. Am I going mad? Am I literally? Is it hysteria? And actually, it wasn't. And I don't to this day, I don't think it was. So yeah, I mean, it was a massive lesson, and you do look into the depths of your soul in a funny way. But I did, and I liked what I saw. I saw someone who's inside my core. I'm happy. I mean, that's where the laughter was coming from, a happy place. And I just thought, I'll be all right. Where happens next, And I ended up having. I would swap it if I'm not. I like calling the truth. If I could go back and somehow or other navigate what was happening at that time, I couldn't have done. It was point of principle really that I was leaving the company. But if I could somehow, I don't know, undo that problem and the company still be great to this day and still be in one piece and still, what I originally wanted it to be, I'd go back and choose that. So I wouldn't choose what's happened. But the 7 years that have gone by since, I've just had the most amazing, crazy time. And just before we came on air, I said to you, I've had an awful lot of I won't call it failure, but things haven't gone my way. Now I'm in a role where I'm using my skills. I'm working with an entertaining and interesting team in a different culture, working in Saudi Arabia. Already got to love a lot of the Saudi people that I'm working with. Great people. So warm and so welcoming. Hospitality first, You can't have a meeting without the coffee being served and the dates being brought out. And I love all that. And it's nice. And there's they touch their heart and, they mean it. It's nice.
If you could go back and maybe it wouldn't have changed, the same outcome may have happened. Sometimes the destiny is just pointed in a new way.
Yeah.
What age were you? Do you remember what age you were at the time?
I was 55, when I left.
Right. So you're right in the zone where many people then retreat to what's known as a lonely island.
Yeah.
And they don't have the confidence and they don't have the toughness or the resilience, or maybe in your case, you just can't sit still. But you've done lots of speaking roles. You've still continued to travel the world. I think you still can't walk in a shop without visually merchandising it.
And that's it. That's funny. That's any shop. I can go into other brand shops and start the ticking over what I would do. And if I get a chance of doing anything about it, I do it. I start doing it, which is nonsense really. It's like a busman's holiday. But no, I like referring to a book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. And that is about how when you've got a deep knowledge of something, it becomes almost instinctive and innate that you can use that knowledge. And I did things like walked into a store for 2 minutes and then left the store, my old Ted Baker stores, and then I diagnosed the store. And the first time I did it, I was in Dallas, and I did it with the store manageress, Jo Harney, who's remained a good friend of mine to this day. And I said to her, on this occasion, I didn't even go into the shop. I sat outside, and I said, I'm going to sit on this bench with you, and I'm going to tell you all sorts of stuff about the shop. And she said that I think 5 of the 7 things I told her were wrong at the time. And I said, no, I'm not wrong, and they'll all come true. And she's like, no, that's really arrogant. That's not going to happen. Anyway, I was right. There was a girl actually in the stockroom who was chronically autistic, and I could see that in the precision in the way things were put out. in the shop. And I said, there's no team in the world that puts things out as precisely as that. And I said, I bet if I go in the stockroom, you can eat your lunch off the floor. And they were like, oh my God, yeah, it's washed with bleach every single day. Now, you know, stockrooms in shops, they're not washed with bleach every day. She washed that stockroom floor with bleach every day because she was, you know, clean. But I saw, and I didn't even see her. I just saw, looking at the shop, this is too perfect. So, yeah, so I've now got a savant's ability, I suppose, to do retail. And it was all just bricks and mortar. No, not just bricks and mortar. Online too. Online, as I'll tell anybody who wants to listen to me, is so bloody boring. Clicking and buying something. What do you get? You might get a little video. That's about it. Where are the holograms I was promised? Where are the flying cars? You know, where's the virtual mall where I see an avatar of me who goes to meet the avatar of my sister and goes shopping, you know, halfway around the world in Vegas when I'm sitting in England and she's sitting in Australia. None of that is happening yet. So what's also exciting about working in Saudi Arabia is they are working in the future. Everything's about what can we do? What can we do? You know, I'm working to do an immersive presentation currently, or working how that can be, working with various companies that produce it for us. So we want an immersive experience of what this park is going to be and what it's going to become over the next, I should say I work for King Salman Park, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world that's happening in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, my resilience has meant that I've ended up 7 years later doing a job. I've done some other jobs, but this one really feels like, you know, something special, and I can be involved in something that's like a legacy for a whole country. You know, it's just amazing to be involved in one of the Giga projects.
And there you go. And Chris, if I may ask, how old are you now?
62 now.
Okay, so for anyone listening out there, there's a guy here who may have been through that same almost what could be a crushing loss after all those years, a project that wasn't finished, couldn't get a job with his friend. 7 years later, he's gone on to accomplish several things, and now he's got a dream project. So it's a great message never to give up. And where does that never sitting still come from? How far back can we attribute?
Oh, it's from, I mean, it is from childhood. It's developed over time. So, you know, I have got a hyperactive kind of history, I suppose. And when I was a child and I had it, I used to like do things. I'd try and control the whole classroom and make the whole classroom do things that I decided we were doing. I mean, that's a story for another day. And I used to get threatened with being expelled frequently by the headmaster. But that's just an excess of energy. I mean, I've got this thing, and I know anyone with an autistic child or a child with any kind of neurodivergent brain, you know, I've probably got a neurodivergent brain and probably a neurodivergent body. But it's a superpower, and that's how I regard it. You know, one of my family has got quite a chronic case of sort of an ADHD condition. I'm not sure they've finally diagnosed what it is yet. And yet I don't know. Maybe it's a like-minded person to me. I don't see that when I'm with them. I don't want to say the name, but I find that I get what they're doing. I get what's going on. I get why they're behaving the way they are. And I just think that should be used as a superpower. You know, I think that with everything though. It's like, you know, we all get sick from time to time. So you get sick, you get better, you get on with it. I'd love to do a course in counselling because I think I'm accidentally being a counsellor throughout my career. You know, counselling people, giving people guidance and advice. Coming from my point of view, I'm not sure how valuable it is because my point of view is to be relentlessly happy. You know, I gave myself my own little mantra, relentlessly happy. And I asked the team to come up with their own ones, your own phrase that you live by. Mine was relentlessly happy. It doesn't really mean work. It just means just in everything in life. I don't want to go back to the choose happy thing again, but if you have that mindset of being relentlessly happy, you know, people, oh yeah, you can't be yeah, you can be happy. You know, Stephen at One Gold Nugget always said to me, and I reckon he says this to everyone, but he can correct me if I'm wrong. But he said my original nugget of choosing happy was something that really struck him because he doesn't choose happy because he actually wakes up and almost sometimes decides not to be happy. I've never done that in my life. Never done it in my life. Even the worst days of my life, you know, deaths in the family, bad news, you know, illness, whatever it could be. That's the times when you really prove it.
The other day, it was from Hassia Atherton, who I think you may know as well.
But I've seen her.
Yeah, she does phenomenal work out globally, empowering women in the trade. But she's a great coach as well. And I had a moment, and she said to me, choose 4 words that describe yourself, but they cannot be dad, husband, son, brother.
What adjectives you want then?
Just for you. And I had the word adventurous down, looked it up in the dictionary, confirmed adventurous suits. Fun, I thought I'd go with. And then I thought about my family and coming from love, as you say, is a key part.
Yeah.
Fun-loving, adventurous spirit.
Right.
And in terms of choosing happy, if I can choose fun-loving, adventurous spirit every day, when I write a piece of content and go, great, that's mine. I don't know if there's an imposter syndrome out there or not.
I just don't believe in imposters. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
You are who you are, and you're trying to be something in some circumstances, maybe, but I don't suffer from that. I'm me. I'm me, and I'm me here, there, and everywhere. And I think people are that. I think even if you're, I don't know, putting a show on, it's still you doing it. So no, imposter syndrome is a damaging phrase. I'm quite anti that. I don't know if you're going to ask me about my 4 words, but I've got a word for you which might not necessarily associate with me, but I'm really proud of this word. Well, just one word. Years ago, my former colleague and the founder of Ted Baker said that I was difficult. And I thought, sometimes I am difficult. I think my team, Jamie, my close colleague and the team in the retail team, at times would find me difficult in terms of being demanding on time, maybe demanding on speed of doing things, in terms of thinking things were doable that probably weren't, or possibly weren't, and then we managed to do it. So I quite like the word difficult in that context of, actually, I exhaust my family at times. I apologize to them. But if that's because it's demanding, it's because of standards, because it's being a bit difficult, then I think that's actually quite a good thing. I think I like the football manager, Brian Clough. He was difficult, but it was a thread of genius running through being difficult, I have literally, honestly, pounded away. I mean, it took a year to get the job that I'm doing now. And my wife said to me several times, give it up, give it up, give it up. No, I won't give it up. It's the same as I am with sport, same as I am with work, same as I am with everything. Keep on battering away and you get through in the end. So difficult. I like that one as one of my 4. I'll put 2 together to make one word. Relentlessly happy all as one word. That's another one.
Oh, here we go. Bending the rules now.
Yeah. Funny. I don't mean funny as in I'm super funny, David. I just think every single thing I find humor in.
Yeah.
I can be driving along and just laugh at some silly thought that's come into my head or somebody's, I've seen on the street who's something they've done's amused me. So funny. And, if it got a bit serious in the board meeting, I found that really funny.
Yeah.
and I would literally start smirking and laughing to myself. And the other board members would go, oh dear, he's gone.
Okay.
But, so I've got my 4 words are actually 2 together, relentlessly happy. So relentless is a word, actually. Relentless and happy is 2 separate words.
Excellent.
I'm relentless. And, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Sometimes that can be, oh my God, could he just shut up? No,
right.
I probably can't.
But if you can wear those badges before, and if anyone out there is doing the exercise,
I think that's, I get sick of this idea. I think the 55 thing, let's just go back to that for a second.
Yeah.
55, mid 50s, maybe getting to 60 crisis of particularly the ones that have lost a job, male or female, lost a job that they wanted to do for a bit longer. The business world is changing in every category. So things don't have the longevity they had. Again, I just think, well, hold on, you've got skills. You've got to a point and an age and an experience and you've got skills. That's like another little test for you to go again, not to shrink from it. Now, obviously, some people don't find it easy. I'm not dismissing it, but that's your chance. It's like, sometimes you need a bit of adversity. It's not always hearts and flowers. And it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. And I've done private equity. I've done non-exec work and advisory, done an awful lot of consulting, which is this much maligned word, but actually you're a consultant for a reason. You've got skills and knowledge that people need and they haven't got it. I've been in meetings where I'm thinking some things are really, really, really obvious and shall I not bother saying it? Then I realised, no, these people don't know they don't know about retail. They don't know about numbers of rails and units and staffing requirements and roles within a retail team, but they can't see the value of or the need of because it's not their skill set, it's not their area.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can add huge value.
I'm going to go back to the word difficult if I can. I think that's a brilliant word. And I've worked with you, but I've worked under you. Difficult was how we liked it. Difficult is also a challenge. Not that it's impossible, but by being difficult, and applying difficult. That's why you like sport.
Yeah.
It is quite a sportish mindset, perhaps.
It is. It absolutely is. And that's why I would sometimes do things with the team. I would get the team together and we'd break up something that was doing okay. And I'd break it up, and I do use that as a sport analogy. It's like when the football team's doing well. And sometimes the time to change it is when it's at its peak. I think Alex Ferguson did that well at Man United. Guardiola has been doing it well, and maybe he's missing a moment now. But it's a bit interesting where they're out there. They're still still a great team, but they're starting to break up. And I did that with the teams. I would also spot talent within the team, which wasn't immediately obvious. And if some of my colleagues were here, they'd all be claiming, oh, no, we knew that so-and-so was going to be good at operations, or so-and-so wasn't suited to that store or that environment or whatever. I was like, no, you didn't. I genuinely I think deeply about everyone that I was working with, and where are their skills best allied to, and where should they go? And we had a strong underpinning, as you know, at TED, in that we did the training events with my good friend John Dalton. Yes, we did. And the best part of it was secret. So we did it, and then the people who attended didn't come back and speak about it because they could see that by speaking about what we did, they'd ruin it for the next people that attended. But then it became its self-perpetuating excitement. We ran 5 events in the end, 5 different events, and people would want to go. And there, we would stress people's abilities and get them to think differently about who they were, what they wanted to achieve. Sometimes it led to people leaving. That's also good. Because actually, if you get someone to go, I don't want to be a retailer, or I don't want to be an operations or a merchandiser or accountant within the retail side or in the fashion company, I actually want to go and be the artist I originally was. And if we uncover that was a fantastic investment from the company too. And you could argue that's quite a difficult thing to do. And people would go, oh my God, I'm literally getting to delve into who I am, what do I really want to be, what am I good at, what do I need assistance with? And there's a whole world of training, learning and development that I am, again, relentless and obsessed about.
Going to wrap it up today, Chris. Do you have a new one golden nugget you could share?
Well, you've thrown that on me when I wasn't thinking about golden nuggets, but let me come up with one.
Who's inspiring you today to keep pushing forward like these kind of ideas?
I think all 4 of my children are inspiring me, and that's going to sound really a bit, oh yeah, we've all got great kids, we love our kids. Yeah. You know, my son is working with the founders of Be Real and Bumble over in America, and he's become a model in 6 months, and he's become an influencer, and he won that job out of 10,000 people. You know, my daughter Elvie she manages a gym, and she mixes with some of the great and good of the Brighton sort of society, from football people to, you know, Frank Smith, the CEO of Matchrooms, a friend of hers. You know, the fact that she's doing that and working at that level every day. My daughter Holly's a teacher working in a school in Oxford, and one of the best schools. I always forget the name of it, Christ College, Oxford or something. It's amazing. It's an amazing, old-fashioned, beautiful school she's working in. And again, working at a high level. And then my daughter Lucy's out in Australia and just firing up the ranks. She's become an insurance broker, running one of the big. Well, she does run the biggest account of the biggest insurance brokers in Australia, and she's an accidental insurance broker. So watching what they're doing and feeling like I had a bit to play in that. I mean, their mums did too, absolutely. But I know I had a bit to play in that. You know, I was saying to my oldest daughter the other day, and just like how badass she was, and she came back saying, "I'm not badass. That's a funny word." And I went, I don't know, just think it suits you. You are badass. You've got twin daughters. You've got an amazing job. You are sort of just cruising through life. Yeah, there's something. So yeah, there's that. I mean, I think my golden nugget is absolutely. I think I read this somewhere the other day. So it's not my nugget, but reach out to somebody that you're thinking about. Don't just think about them. Don't just remember them. Reach out to them. You know, a friend of mine died 3 years ago from COVID, and he was found. This is a miserable way to end, but he died from COVID. He wasn't found for 2 weeks because he was down on his luck. He was living in a bedsit and having a tough time. But I spoke to him about a month before he died, and I had this very late night rambling, crazy conversation with him. And it's a big regret of mine. We arranged to meet for coffee, and then he went quiet on me. Well, he went quiet on me because he passed away. But I just wish I'd been a bit quicker. You know, I wish I'd reached out a day or two earlier and got to him a bit earlier, and then had that conversation. So, with that sort of miserable thought in mind, I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy was the most flamboyant, genius guy in my life, and I just feel like, you know, he's a loss to the world, he's a loss to me. But there's somebody out there that probably needs a call from you, needs your time. I can do this. I'll tell you one last thing, and then I'll shut up. I was always told I could do this, and I test myself. I can make people contact me. by thinking about them. Now,
Okay.
that's great, but actually, I'm going to do better than that. I am just going to call them. I'm not going to wait for the magic to happen. I am just going to call them. So, in fact, the guy that I was talking about earlier, who I'm trying to help get a job, I'm going to give him a call. I'm in London for a day next week. I'm going to meet him for coffee next week. So that's my promise to you, and I promise to him. Reach people, go and see them, speak to them, contact them, send them something random and funny.
You got it. You got it. Right. Myself in the audience, just close your eyes just for 10 seconds and think of that person that you're going to call. Okay.
You got someone, David?
I've got a meeting in 3 minutes. I'm going to call that person.
No, but did you get the person? Oh, you got the person.
No, I have got the person. I've got the person, and they're in my family. I'm going to give.
And I bet you they need you right now. So that's why
It's 2 people in my family, and they very much do. So thank you for that exercise, Chris. Thanks for coming in. I cannot wait for version 3, version 4, and all the others that we've got in store.
Yeah, I look forward to it. And I know that was very, very rambling, but I hope people enjoyed it anyway. And I did.
Good man.
Speaking to you, David.
Brilliant, Chris. Thanks so much. And to the audience, thanks for hanging in there. Go and call someone. Bye-bye.
Join David and his incredible guests next time on the Success Nuggets podcast. And to find out more, visit onegoldennugget.com. Thank you for listening.